All right, folks, we're excited to be here with Justin Osborne of Susto. So excited to have you, Justin, coming out to Cosmico in May 17th through the 19th. And you're going to be getting back on the road. This will be one of your first shows back on the road. Congratulations. You're a father once again and have a new baby. We're excited to have you at Cosmico. How's everything going?
Yeah, we're really excited to be playing. Thank you very much. I've like you said, I've become a dad again. I have a brand new baby boy, is just which that's been really great. But also it's been a lot of time off the road, so I'm definitely itching to get back out and play. And this will be the first sort of full band performance that we're doing since I've taken my paternity leave. And also, we're gonna, I'm getting you to perform twice. I'm gonna play with Susto the full band, but also I got to be teaming up with the guys from Moonsville Collective and doing a special Susto string band set. So it's gonna be really fun. I mean, we love the area, we love the lineup that you guys have curated. We're just really excited to be a part of it, and yeah, we're definitely looking forward to playing again, because not just me, but with my paternity leave, the whole band has sort of been on leave. So we're excited to get back and play together again.
Well, we're excited, and I would imagine that that's going to bring a lot of energy to the performance. The guys, we're certainly chomping at the bit to hear you, and I'm sure y'all are all ready to play. One of the things that I love about Susto is just the power of the performance. And your show here, you played twice last summer. One at the Bloodroot Ramble, and then at Elephant in the Room a few months later. And the Elephant Room show really showed the power of Susto to kind of lift the audience. I forget if it was a Monday or Tuesday night, but one of those barroom crowds that might be a little worn out on Monday and Tuesday. And I mean, it was an absolutely rocking show. Tell me about what the energy exchange is, and just how you kind of raise that vibration, because I think that's one of the really notable things about Susto performance is just how much energy you bring to it and how much that connects with the audience.
There's something, I think that's sort of the nature of music in a band, right? You're kind of sitting around, especially like if it is like a Monday and it's our first time sort of playing a headlining show in the area at that Elephant in the Room show. And we had played Bloodroot before, so we knew we had some friends at bands in the area, but we didn't really know what to expect either, right? But then you kind of get set up, and the sun goes down, the lights come up, and you hit the stage and the band starts, and the vibe is just there. And I'd love to say that we're able to create that every single time, but it's not every single time. But that's what's great about coming to that area, and why we're excited to be back at Cosmico, because I feel like there's the folks that are coming to shows and are sort of there for the music are ready to kind of let that vibe take over and partake in it. And so we feed a lot off of that. And, that both of those shows, I remember sort of having that feeling where the crowd was just really feeling it. And, we like to give it back. And I know us having been on a break, we're definitely going to be a little bit thirsty for that sort of connection and that music together. And we're a tight knit group of friends, and essentially collaborators and co-creators who, when we get on stage and play together, especially on a long, where we've been doing it day in and day out, or if it's coming off of a little break like this, it's always fun. But I think it's often more fun whenever you've sort of a little pause and you come, remember that we do this. And so we're really excited, and I'm glad that that's sort of the takeaway from the performances that you've seen of ours, because we want everyone to feel what we're feeling, that sort of vibe and connection to the music. And obviously, we're performing songs that we've written about, our experiences and our sort of I don't know if there's a better word than vibe. So we're sort of creating our vibe, and so when people hop on it with us, it always feels good. So yeah, thank you for those kind words about the performances.
Vibe is a great way to describe it. It's a word that everybody's using a lot these days, but it's literally how I curate the lineup and the art. It's a energetic programming, and it's intended to bring positivity, uplifting, healing to the audience. That's what we want people to experience at Cosmico. You're going to be playing the closing set on Saturday night, the headlining set, and the sun set, and been working on our lighting package, some lights going, and I'm gonna name a song that I think would fit well, but I want to hear something from you on what you would fit well. When I hear County Line and Marshall banging that drum, that beat, and it just is, pumps me up. It's such a driving song, and I think it's one of those that just has sort of an epic nature to that. Ja Works is another one, that's a great one. What song do you envision? Sundown over the redwoods, the audience is right there with you. You guys are rocking out on your set. What are you going to play?
Oh man, excited. And the songs you just mentioned, like County Line, like I really agree with you. There's like, the song is sort of encapsulates sort of what I was mentioning earlier when the music comes up and it's like everybody catches the vibe. Like I think Johnny sort of in with the guitar intro on that one. And I don't know, like those two you named, I'm sure will be in our set. Those are pretty much Susto standards, but I it's going to be a magical sort of experience, like in an outdoor experience. I think one that I really love to play, and it's a little bit of a slower song, but is Smoking Outside. It's like from our first record, and there's hardly a time where we play like a really nice outdoor vibey set where we don't throw that one in, because it's really about sort of being in the air amongst the music with people you love. And so I think that one will probably, there's also, some of our newer tunes that are a bit more up tempo, but still good for catching. Been in music and the me with everyone around them, like all like songs like Good Right Now. And I don't know, like that, I think we'll definitely be curating our best set list for the environment. I think that's something we try and do that's why, we essentially make a new set list every night, because it's like every vibe is different, and every crowd is different. So I'm sure we won't find out until day of, but I know that those songs, along with like the songs that you were mentioning before, will be a part of that sort of curated experience from our end, because it's also for us, we're in set. I'm sorry, I'm in my garage, so you can hear my neighbor's crank car, but in a set, it's very much about creating sort of a narrative and emotional arc for us as well, to sort of like present, like, it's like from the moment we start to the last note, we're trying to take you on some sort of sonic journey, and that's what we do on our records. That's what we do in our shows. And so if all goes well, everyone is like sort of perfectly curated to that night and that moment and that space. And so I'm excited to see what the final list is, and just to sort of ride that wave with everybody at Cosmico.
That's going to be awesome. Can't wait. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about your songwriting. I wrote something we're calling liner notes, Cosmico liner notes, about, my feelings about, kind of Susto. And I want to read you this, and I'd like to, have you comment on it, with the, the question being about psychedelics and the healing nature and the power of psychedelics, and healing in general. It doesn't have to be through psychedelics, or the American experience and the coming of age experience. It's something that I've utilized in my life. I've come late to it. Cosmico is going to be my 50th birthday, by the way. So,
oh wow,
that's something we're celebrating. But the kind of the pathway clearing of habits and trauma and things that kind of hold you back, that I've found through, the use of psychedelics, and I've heard that thematic in some of your music, but I think one of the things that really connects with me about your songwriting, you're empathy towards the coming of age experience. And I don't know if that's, well, let me just read you this. A Susto song is the study of the human condition. If you hear it, it will bring you understanding, illuminating something within you or shedding light on someone you love. It will lift you up and it will break your heart open. Would love to hear just kind of your thoughts around, where that's coming from and who you're talking to, and, from a songwriting standpoint.
Well, again, I want to, words. I mean, like as someone who's completely dedicated my life to writing songs and to, hopefully fostering connection and understanding through the art form of songwriting, like that, it means a lot to hear that sort of, I don't know, that sort of response. And, I think in some ways there's something you said about an empathy towards the coming of age experience. And I think a lot of that is probably me trying to have empathy on myself and the people in my life, like trying to humanize folks and situations, and also just trying to make sense of what's going on. Like I've always used songwriting as a form of catharsis, a form of processing hard things. Like, and, in the darkest points of my life, songwriting has been the thing I've turned to sort of help me navigate. And on the other end, like in some of the most joyous, blissful experiences of my life, it's been songwriting that's helps me sort of understand that and express that too. And a lot of that comes out with how I've touched on my use of psychedelics. And going back to like the top of your question, like I think, obviously the entire project of Susto and every Susto song isn't about psychedelic use, but there's definitely a theme and I guess sort of an ethos within the band's catalog that points towards these experiences and like the lessons that have been learned from that. And I am a user of psychedelics for many different sort of things and ways. I wouldn't say I'm any sort of expert. I am not even that regular of a user of them. I feel like it's sort of like a need basis, but there's definitely been experiences in my life, especially early on in the band, where I was sort of taking some deep dives for the purpose of seeking understanding. And, there was definitely an enjoyment element associated with it. I was in my late 20s when I really started to explore things like LSD and psilocybin specifically. But what I found was this sort of new understanding of some of my experiences and the people behind those experiences and the circumstances behind those experiences. And I started to change my perspective. I started to change my perspective on myself and give myself a little bit more grace. And, I think that was something I wanted to share. I wanted to share that experience and sort of be like, hey, like this was something that was never taught to me. I sort of stumbled onto it, and with the right sort of mindset and intention, like maybe other folks can too. And maybe it can be helpful. And another thing though, I think like undergoing or going through some psychedelic experiences also like removed some fear about maybe censoring myself, not only talking about those experiences and what psychedelics have done, but like talking about all of it, like the stuff that's like, maybe uncomfortable to share about or uncomfortable for people to listen to sometimes. And not that every Susto song is some, sort of sharing a traumatic thing or like a heavy thing, but there is a lot of it. And I think that that's been helpful for me because all those situations are autobiographical. They're things that I actually went through or people close to me went through. But like I said, that's not all of it. And it's like, I think getting that out like helps whenever, there's a feeling of joy or bliss, or you're going through a moment in your life where you're like, wow, I'm really appreciating this because I have these other things to compare it to that are reminding me of how beautiful it is. And, we speak to that in our music too. There's a lot of appreciation for and celebration of beauty and love and joyful moments. But I think sort of tying it all together, that for me, like, I was writing songs before Susto. I was in other bands. I was writing songs for 10 years before Susto. But like Susto sort of came out of those psychedelic experiences, and my songwriting changed because my perspective changed and my that's not the only thing in my life that has changed me, right? Other things have changed me, and experiences have changed me. Loss and joy are all things that have contributed to my continued evolution as a human. But I think the psychedelic experience that I initially had, or the series of them, like, was more of a sea change, more of this like, wow, I sort of felt my perspective and my worldview and my sense of place in the universe shift. And so, that's why, like, with caution, like, I'm very pro psychedelic use. I think, if anyone asks me personally about it, I explain my experiences. I explain like the sort of risks, but also the benefits. And also, like I said, I'm no expert. I'm just a human who's like, tried to make sense of my own life, and, ended up having these experiences, and subsequently ended up writing songs about that, and I do think that it's like I said, allowed me to like observe and sort of unpack things in my life with a bit more empathy for myself and for other people. And I don't know, I'm definitely a person that feels a lot. Like, I'm not always sad. I'm not always happy, but I feel a lot, and I don't know, I care about the people close to me. And for me, songwriting has been a way to sort of convey that. And I feel like the songwriting paired with the sort of effect that psychedelics have had on me, like, allows for that songwriting to be more sort of distilled in a good way, like more sort of like pure and honest. And it's just sort of changed my perspective. I guess that's sort of a trope for anyone who's used psychedelics. Of course it does. But, if you're out there and you haven't, like, I'm just another person just to say that that's the effect it's had on me,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a funny thing to share. I don't know how we'll present this, because we're obviously not trying to make an advertisement or anything for the use of it, but as a thematic, what it has helped me, and it's just opened me up. I cross my arms here, but I've had a lot of periods of my life where I've dealt with repression and, sort of holding myself back. And, you used the word grace, giving yourself some grace. And I've felt that change, and your music has helped me feel that change. So I appreciate that.
Well, that makes me feel like, we've accomplished part of what we've set out to do, because like we've, ultimately the music is made to sort of help us navigate it. But then it's put out there in hopes of like finding the folks who are also, having those experiences, and the fact that the music can be sort of a soundtrack to that in people's lives has been the greatest sort of unanticipated benefit of following this path and doing this and creating this music. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you for letting it be a part of your story,
Yeah. Thank you. And that's my hope for Cosmico, for the Susto set, for the other sets. I find that the power of music for me, and really the reason that we're doing this, is it's the most powerful way for me to kind of connect to my source energy, and whatever that is for people, be it God, be it a universal spirit, be it, a higher consciousness, be it nature. When I'm listening to music, I feel moved. And when you feel moved, that's when you can kind of touch those parts inside of you and decide where you want to go and how you want to live your life. And it leads you to meaning. So that's my hope that through coming to Cosmico and hearing your music, people are going to, it will enable people to kind of get on that path in their lives. That's the big goal.
Well, any sort of role that we can play in that for any individual at all, like, it's an honor and a privilege. So thank you for considering us, active participants in that, because I think that's exactly what, music does for people and for people as community. And it's cool to resonate with folks at, like in that way, like whether you're in the crowd or on stage. And so it's very cool what you guys are doing with Cosmico. And we're just, and, we know you guys personally. We've been fortunate to become friends with you guys over the last couple of years. And I don't know, I just love the sort of intention behind everything that you guys are doing with the festival, and really excited to attend. That this will also be our first year getting to attend officially. So yeah, I'm excited. Like I said too, and we keep referring to this. It's like I've been on paternity leave, and this is going to be sort of my first trip out with the band. And I couldn't think of a more perfect setting and group of people to sort of have that experience with it. Because I'm also riding like this a lot of joy and introspective sort of. I don't know. I'm obviously when you have a child, it's like it's one of the major milestones in your life, and I don't know. So I feel like I'm really excited for the place I'm in my life, and like to know that I have this great event with you guys and with the band and everyone who's going to be in attendance to look forward to so soon is just, it's got me really happy and excited, and almost like giddy in this sort of it's got my humanist purest self like giddy inside. So my soul is excited for it.
That's wonderful. My soul is excited for it too. It's going to be really great. I wanted to mention one more thing. Cosmico is a fundraiser. And so everybody buying tickets and helping to contribute to it is all going to a good cause. We run it through an organization called the Launchpad Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to lifting people up by finding an entrepreneurial path and building stronger communities, connected communities. That's going to be a lot of what we're doing at Cosmico. This year, we want to incorporate a new element, which is we'd like to invite both of our headliners to nominate a charity, a nonprofit that's meaningful to them, and we'll direct some of the proceeds of Cosmico to them. So, Justin, I'd like to invite you to share an organization that's meaningful to you.
Well, I'm really excited about this aspect of the festival because it's like, it just goes further in towards that giving back. And it's not just even giving back to the folks at the festival. It's like saying this experience, this gathering is going to have ripples outside of it for folks who weren't even there, and that's a great way to sort of channel that energy and push it somewhere. I've worked with a nonprofit called This Is Noteworthy, sort of on and off for the last 10 years or so. They were founded in Charleston, where I lived for a long time, and initially was founded to sort of help musicians or music industry professionals try and sort of gain access to healthcare, because there was essentially realizing that a lot of folks that were in bands like trying to start out maybe couldn't afford to pay for healthcare, or two, were a little bit daunted by the process of navigating the marketplace and actually getting it done. And so they started out by helping people find plans. A lot of the folks they would help find they found ended up qualifying for free plans anyway, or either really cheap ones. And then they would go further by subsidizing the costs of those plans for other folks. And I was one of those folks for a long time. And honestly, it was one of the things that helped me get started with Susto. Obviously, when you're just starting out and everybody in the band's making like $30 a night at the show, there's not a lot of extra money to spare for things, as essential as health insurance. And also, you're thinking about booking tours and all stuff. You're not really thinking about getting all your ducks in order and checking all the boxes to get, this set up for yourself. And so they were very helpful for me, like in, helping me tackle the initial task of figuring out what was available and then helping me sort of cover those costs for a long time. And I'm sort of like, I'm like a graduate of that program, I guess, like, as I've, since been able to establish myself in my career. But I can't say enough about the organization because it was really helpful for me and I've seen them help other folks. They've since sort of grown out of Charleston and now they're based loosely in the Southeast. They have representatives in Nashville and in Austin and outside of Oxford, Mississippi, and a few other places. But now they're still helping folks with what I described with the healthcare, but also helping folks who are professional artists like myself or similar, like get grants for different projects, like if it's a studio project, or even for physical artists, like if they're trying to, I don't know, there's obviously an approval process and things like that, but it's a great organization that has I've loved seeing them grow over the last decade, and they've helped me a lot, and they've done a lot of great stuff for other people as well. So for me, This Is Noteworthy will be the organization that I'll be choosing to direct our energy towards. And so thank you guys again for, for making that a possibility and a part of Cosmico, because, you know, that, like I said before, that the energy and that is built up with this festival and all the good vibes will be able to be sent out and have ripple effects in other places and other people's lives and other communities that, you know, may seem completely unconnected, but they are connected.
Yeah, they sure are. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's going to be really special. All right, Justin, I'm going to let you go. It's been wonderful chatting with you today. I'll let you get back to your expanded family and you know, why don't you give us a little parting shot for Cosmico?
I'm Justin from Susto, and I'm so excited for Cosmico Fest. We cannot wait to enjoy all the vibes and the good music and the beautiful setting with all of you folks in just a few weeks in California. Is that okay?
All right.
Should I do it again?
That's